Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Jason Sanders, who serves as both the product specialist and manager for the Industrial Heat Division at Leister Technologies, a worldwide market leader in plastic welding and hot air technologies based in Itasca, Illinois. In his current role, Jason provides technical, application, and educational support to end users, as well as manages dealer and key accounts to strengthen relationships. Plus, Jason has marketing responsibilities for the Industrial Heating Division. In addition to his product specialist responsibilities, Jason leads a team of sales engineers and technical support specialists dedicated to providing application assistance with industrial heating applications and advancing the product portfolio in the U.S. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Why don't you start at the beginning of your beginning? Why did you choose a career in automation control system integration? Or maybe the career chose you?
Yeah, so I feel like my story is very similar to many of those in the industry. I got involved with sales and product management by an accident by going onto a sales call. At the time, I was an engineer designing a control system for an aftermarket project related to the aerospace industry for a large OEM supplier. The project that I was working on had a component where it required a sales engineer to be on site for an equipment evaluation. So this portion of the project, really made me nervous. I had some apprehension about doing that task. But the aftermarket manager that assigned me the project actually instilled in me the confidence that I needed to complete what we needed to get done. So when I was actually working through the tasks on site with the customer, the one thing I noticed very quickly was that my reservations were starting to go away, and I started to feel a little bit more at ease with what I needed to do. But the other thing that I found is that my salesmanship really started to come out, and I was actually finding different ways to solve the customer's problems in terms of their efficiency for their process, maybe making some equipment recommendations for them. So by the time I got back to the office, I got a call from the aftermarket manager, and he had a couple of things for me. The first thing was that he said that I did a really good job. The second thing is that he also got an additional order from that particular customer, which made me really happy. But the third thing that came out of it was I also had a new job or I should say a job opportunity in aftermarket sales. And here I am today applying everything that I've learned into the sales and marketing aspect of what I'm doing and sharing it with CSIA.
Maybe this is a little bit of a tougher question. How do you describe to lay people what you do?
Yeah, so that is a tough question, but it's a fair one to ask. So I usually start by explaining a very simple concept to people. I tell them that I sell industrial air heaters for manufacturing purposes. From there, I try to identify everyday products that they come in contact with that they may not realize that hot air was actually used to manufacture the product. One of those products is bottled beverages. Bottled beverages, when you look at them at the store as you're shopping, you notice that a lot of them have tamper-proof seals or some sort of a sleeve on the body of the bottle to identify what type of product that you're looking at. What people don't realize is that there's some sort of mechanism in the background that required to actually put them onto the bottle. One of the preferred methods as part of the manufacturing process is hot air. Hot air is usually required to shrink the film. That way it conforms to the body of the product itself.
So as you're describing the process of how these coverings get put on bottles, I'm picturing in the wintertime when I have to take those giant sheets of plastic, put them up on my window and use an air dryer to tighten it up. Is it kind of something like that?
Yeah, it's very similar to that process. So the way it works is as that sleeve actually goes onto the bottle, it passes through like a tunnel, for lack of a better term. But what people don't realize is within that tunnel, there's some sort of a heat source. Hot air is actually one of the methods that's actually used with that. So actually, our products actually go into the side of the heat tunnel, and then from there, the actual hot air actually gets introduced in the process, whether it's actually blown directly onto the product itself, or if it's actually dispersed through other means.
Help me close the gap between your background in control system design and how that helps you do your job better.
My background in control system design, I've gained that across many different industries. I've got experience from water treatment, wastewater treatment, the energy industry, OEM equipment building. So I've actually come across a variety of applications. I've been able to pull certain pieces out of those different industries and actually apply them to what I'm doing today. The more common component that I've learned over my 20 plus years was how to apply heat, temperature, and the ability to control it to basically maximize the efficiency of the process. So
is everything in your house basically shrink wrapped now?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. If it's not shrink wrap, basically I've blown hot air across every surface. So.
Probably useful in this global pandemic to have that of, on the spot disinfecting solution or whatever.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's switch around to talk about Leister. How did it begin and evolve?
Leister does have a very unique story. Life for the company started out back in 1949 as a manufacturer of heaters and vacuum cleaners. When you kind of take a step back and look at it, it's a very unique product mix. But what our founder quickly realized is he was actually able to take the technology that was developed and the experiences that he's learned through product development and apply them to fill the need of the plastics industries. So by 1954, Leister developed the first hot air tool for welding thermoplastics, but since that time, the company has increased their product portfolio offerings and has expanded into other business segments. Roofing, flooring, plastic fabrication applications, we have tools developed for that. Equipment for the tarps and technical textiles industries. Laser plastic welding systems. But more importantly, my category, the industrial heating segment, which actually includes air heaters, hot air blowers for industrial use. Today, we've got about roughly 130 sales and service centers in over 100 different countries. We got our start here in the U.S. in 2000 in the Chicago suburbs, and we are actually one of 8 global locations. Since that time, we've now have operations in 3 domestic facilities with over 50 employees, and Lisa, we're still growing today.
Do you specialize in any industry, product, or discipline?
Yeah, so a lot of the customers that I work with, it really revolves around the packaging industry. We've spent a great deal of time. We have a lot of expertise within that industry, and we've been able to learn and grow and pull out some really good lessons learned. But the other thing that I've noticed is that we've been able to take those same lessons learned and apply them to other industries. Right now, we are starting to get more inquiries from the automotive, aerospace, metals, plastics, and glass industries. It's really interesting to see where the company is starting to grow. So at the end of the day, I feel that we are well versed in a variety of different applications.
How would you say Leister Technologies has changed in the past year?
When I first came to the company 3 years ago, I noticed very quickly how many different heating application conversations were taking place. I was involved with customers from the automotive, food and beverage, aerospace, and plastic industries. But the one common takeaway from a lot of those conversations was the fact that a lot of them were looking for a reliable heat source for a repeatable process. And this is where the need for automated systems really comes into play. Over the last 24 months, a lot of our conversations have started to include more system integrators. Even though Leister is not necessarily a large turnkey system provider, the products that we can offer to the marketplace can be easily integrated into automated systems to solve manufacturing application problems.
So it's really hard to have any conversation these days without pulling in COVID-19. So my next question is, what do you see for Leister in the upcoming months? And has the company pivoted or otherwise adapted to the disruption caused by the pandemic?
Yeah, Lisa, that is a really good question. I mean, it's no doubt that the pandemic has caused a disruption, not only for our business, but for the economy as a whole. So when I take a look back at our team and what we have there, we have a core of individuals who are really experienced in what they do. And we've been able to be creative in finding ways to move business forward. During these times, we have been able to substitute our traditional in-person visits with a virtual platform. We've been able to leverage things like Skype for Business or Augmented Reality app to actually demonstrate to customers, our products, the applications, and work with them to find solutions to what they're facing today. Again, even though that, we're not able to be with our customers face to face, we're trying to use technology to our advantage to ensure that we're still providing excellent customer support that people expect.
With so many people working from home, canceling in-person meetings and events, and spending more and more time online, it's more important than ever that your digital presence is top-notch and that you find creative ways to maximize your marketing resources and get in front of your customers. The Industrial Automation Exchange and the Talking Industrial Automation podcast are the perfect places to start. The Exchange offers upgrades, packages, and display opportunities to ensure your brand is top of mind during your customers' complicated, research-based buying journey. The Talking Industrial Automation podcast can also help because now you can place your 60-second spot into the podcast. It's super easy and a unique way to reach new audiences. To learn more about the packages and advertising opportunities or how to become a podcast sponsor, contact me, Lisa Richter, at industrydir@controlsys.org. Let's face it, it's a digital world out there, and you need to make sure your company doesn't get left behind. Let the Exchange and podcast go to work for you. So do you think that some of these changes and adaptations that you've gone through because of this pandemic might stick after things, quote unquote, go back to normal? That is, could this be in some ways, could there be some silver linings coming out of this in terms of innovation or changing how we do business?
With everything that we're doing during the pandemic right now, I really feel like that a lot of the things will stick around for the long term. I mean, what I'm starting to see is that, a lot of the members on our team are really starting to embrace the technology that we have available. Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business, a lot of the contribution from our team members now has seemed to increase. So it's really good to see that, not only is it that people are embracing technology, but it's also allowing us to be a little bit more efficient and more nimble in terms of business.
Yeah, I would agree. CSI had a little happy hour last week, was it, or earlier? I don't know. Time has gotten so weird now. I don't even know. But one of the things that somebody said on that call was, going into this, but prior to this, I was really kind of anti-working remote. But this has really shown me how successful it can be, how much time it frees up for me to be able to spend with my kids. And, so I think that's going to be true. What you're saying is people who may have been reluctant in the past to embrace, video conferencing or Slack or some of these other things kind of have been forced to do it and maybe grateful for it in the end. So it's one of the, maybe silver linings. It's the creativity and innovation that's coming out of this mess, I guess.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. One of the things that we've gone through over the last couple of weeks is we've gone to a virtual demonstration for customers. Having the ability to record it, using it as part of our social media post. It's been really interesting to see people embracing, what tools we have available today to actually kind of work with our customers. Maybe it doesn't lead to a sale right away, but what it does do? It actually, it lets our customers know that, hey, we're still here and we still want to help you, solve the issues that you're coming across today. So
all right, so let's talk about CSA because this is our podcast. Why did Leister Technologies become a member of CSA?
As I mentioned before, one of the things that I quickly noticed when I came to Leister 3 years ago was the fact that a lot of system integrators were actually starting to ask questions about our product, how they can apply it to different processes. And so I was wondering, how can I share this information, with more people? CSI really gives me a platform to do that. There's a couple of different ways I take advantage of sharing the knowledge that I have, looking at, the different articles that I can write for trade publications, sharing content, on the Exchange platform really gets that message out there about our products and actually how our products can actually solve a lot of manufacturing application issues.
What would you say is the biggest benefit of CSA membership?
One of the biggest benefits of being a CSIA member is having the ability to not only share information with other system integrators, but also getting to learn about the industry from their perspective. On a given basis, I'm getting information from various emails that I get from the CSIA platform, or going in and doing research to see what's the different trends within the marketplace. Having that information is very valuable, and it gives me a better understanding about the types of customers or end users that I may come across and the needs that they really want.
Without naming names, unless you want to or are allowed to, tell us about a project that was super challenging and what you did to solve the customer's problem.
One of the things I take great pride in, Lisa, is actually having the ability to share with people, my background, my technical expertise, but more importantly, the information that my company can provide for different manufacturing applications. One of the examples is we actually have a partner that was working on an R&D project with an end user and trying to solve, some heat-related application issues. And they were looking for a reliable heat source, but more importantly, the ability to record different data points along the test process. So actually working through a couple of different scenarios with the end user and the partner, we were able to identify, what's the best way to apply heat into the process, number one. And number two, identify the appropriate products that could actually help them solve some of the testing issues, some of the heating issues that the customer is actually coming across. So we were able to identify the necessary components, the best methods for the process. And in the end, the customer was extremely satisfied with the results of our efforts. So,
in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge facing the automation marketplace today and in the future?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges that I see in the marketplace today is the fact that, you have a lot of talented individuals in the marketplace. I've actually had the opportunity to work with so many across so many different industries, and they all have a wealth of knowledge. But the one thing that I see on a regular basis is, a lot of my contacts that I have are starting to retire. They're just getting to a point where it's just like, it's time to put up the fluke meters, the laptops, and kind of set them aside and just enjoy life, and deservedly so. They spent a lot of time in the market, but the one thing that it does is it actually creates a void in the marketplace in terms of information. So as these individuals start to retire, we need to start to replace them with the new breed, the next generation coming into the automation industry. And there's a lot of talented people coming into the industry that have a good understanding of manufacturing applications. But the one thing that's missing is the actual historical component of a lot of these companies, organizations, and applications. So it's really going to be key to make sure that we get a lot of the younger generation up to speed. So the actual transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next is going to be very critical for the industry.
All right, what about your customers? What challenges are they facing right now?
Yeah, so right now, it's really hard to ignore the pandemic and what that's done for everybody's business. So the customers that I deal with have actually kind of addressed this in a couple of different ways. So one of the ways that I see customers getting a little bit more creative during these times is, a lot of them have gone to we'll call it a minimized crew, only having critical or key employees in their facilities, making sure that the operations are still going, whether that be a machine operator, purchasing personnel, or even limited sales staff, making sure that, that they have enough people there to kind of push their business forward is what a lot of them have gone towards. Now, others have actually have gotten a little bit creative in terms of what they do in terms of maintenance activity. So they've actually taken this time to, while, production rates have actually slowed down a little bit, they've actually, have embraced, looking at the machines, making the necessary changes, modifications, tweaks, if you will, to make sure that the machine is actually operating in top form. That way, when they return back to full capacity, that they can just crank it up and continue on. Others, they've actually have looked at their routine maintenance schedule and have tried to find ways to be a little bit more efficient with the process.
So what about augmented reality? I feel like that might be a useful solution in times like this. Do you use that to, demo your products or otherwise communicate with your customers?
Yeah, we've definitely have embraced augmented reality as an option to work with our customers to actually explain to them what our products can actually do, the characteristics of the product itself, what it looks like, to give them a better understanding of how they can utilize that product for their process. Looking at everything that's in the market right now, a lot of customers are actually starting to embrace that more, because what it does is augmented reality gives us a quicker response to the customer. Previously, before the pandemic, a lot of our customers really wanted to have somebody come into their facility and demo the equipment for them. Now, what has happened is, if we have a customer call up, and they say, "Hey, we'd like to have somebody demo this equipment," we provide the augmented reality as an option for them, and a lot of them have embraced that and actually enjoyed that, because you get immediate interaction. You don't have to wait, 1 day, 2 day for a response from anybody.
Okay, so this is going to sound super ignorant, but I'm going to say it anyway. How does it physically happen? Like, do you download a piece of software? Do you send them like those big giant glasses? Like, help me understand how it actually works in real life.
Yeah, so augmented reality is done in a couple of different ways, and so I'm just going to explain it from the app that we have at Leister. So our app is actually something that you can download to your device, whether that's an iPhone, a tablet, or whatever the case may be, and you can actually take a look at the products that we have on our website. So if you're looking for one of our industrial air heaters, you can actually type in the certain model that you're looking for, and it'll actually give you an augmented reality version of that right there in front of you. So it gives you the ability to kind of spin the product along, look at it from the front, the back, the side, the top, and kind of give you some of the feels of the product itself and kind of what you're looking at and how you can apply it to your process.
I've been working with associations for my whole career, and I can honestly say I have never experienced a group of business professionals so willing to share, collaborate, and support one another as the CSIA community. During these unprecedented times, having a group of peers to turn to is invaluable. Whether the current climate means your phone is ringing off the hook or you're chewing your nails to the quick, now is the time to invest in your company, yourself, and this unique community that has a culture of sharing baked into its DNA. You'll also have access to member benefits such as best practices, insurance and legal programs, marketing tools, professional development opportunities, and so much more. To find out how you can join and contribute to this one-of-a-kind organization, visit www.controlsys.org/member-services. Look, I know these are some crazy times, but the CSA community is ready to be by your side. All you have to do is join us. All right. What advice would you give to a prospective customer researching your company versus a competitor?
Yeah, so a lot of the customer applications that I come across, can be extremely diverse. Our end users should take into consideration on a case-by-case basis, the needs for their project. Factors such as, repeatability, safe operation, and maintenance, all that stuff needs to be taken into account when choosing products for their process. I get it, at times, with end users, they can feel overwhelmed when it comes to selecting the right product. On occasion, we do offer, the possibility of conducting a lot of these, preliminary trials, running test samples, parts, whatever the case may be, to help prove the feasibility of the application.
What about like doing a background check on a prospective vendor? What would be your advice there?
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind is, customers should really do their due diligence and actually do research on the companies that they're working with. a company's reputation is everything within the industry. So having, a good track record, quality products, all that stuff really comes into play when you're talking about trying to find the right partner to work with for a lot of these automation projects.
What about certifications? Should a prospective customer look for products that are certified, and which certifications should they look for?
That's a really good question, Lisa. When I sit here and look at the products within our portfolio, all of them carry the CE mark, and some of them have achieved UL recognition. For the customers that I work with, that really says to them that we've taken necessary strides to ensure that not only do we have a quality product, but we've also tested it to certain industry standards. Puts a lot of our customers at ease when they see those markings. In addition to that, we kind of piggyback off of the certifications that we've achieved by leveraging that with our industry experience. Leister has about 70 years worth of product experience knowledge across a variety of industry. When you combine both of those together, it really, sends a message to our customers, hey, we really have an understanding of what's going on in the marketplace in terms of heat applications, and we want to share our knowledge with you and how to apply that, but also having a quality product that is reliable for your process, and it's not going to give you issues in the future.
Final question. If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give him?
Patience, and patience. I mean, that's one of the things that I had to learn the hard way. Very early on in my career, I always wanted to move at a very fast pace on projects. The one thing that I didn't understand was, while I was trying to get from one project to the next, was I was kind of missing certain elements. There's certain things that you can always pick up when you kind of take your time with projects and kind of see them from start to finish. It could be just small things as like, maybe this size bolt works better here versus this one, or maybe this type of controller works better than this one. And that was one thing that, I took away from my years of experience, is the fact that, I really wanted to take my time and learn a little bit more, not only about the process, but the parts that go into the project. And also, the other thing is you also understand people that are involved with the process. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway. Just as important as the technical aspect of a project is, it's just as important to have a good understanding of the people that you're working with, whether that's somebody in purchasing, or that's somebody in manufacturing, procurement, quality assurance testing. A lot of those people that you're going to be working with have knowledge that you may not have today, but you know what? As long as you can share industry experience, you start to gain a little bit of a better understanding of the overall process.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you are interested in learning more about Leister Technologies or Jason Sanders, you can find them on the Industrial Automation Exchange at www.CSIAexchange.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Jason, for joining me today.
My pleasure, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also help others find us by leaving a 5-star review and sharing your favorite episodes with colleagues. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.